Hey, Brian Roisentul here. I'm the host of the Fit Growth Machine podcast. And today we have an awesome episode. We are going to talk about the secret strategies only known to Disney's insiders to attract lifetime clients, make more money, and enjoy engage employees. Who doesn't want that, right? But before introducing today's guest, let me tell you that this episode is brought to you by BSR Digital. At BSR Digital, we help e-commerce brands that want to scale their business to the next level through Facebook, Instagram, Google, TikTok, Pinterest, and Twitter ads. BSR Digital knows that most e-commerce brands want to grow their sales, but they lack a solid plan and professional team to help them succeed. That's why BSR Digital offers strategic plans, implementation, optimization, and account audits to help more than 1,000 e-commerce brands like yours grow their businesses and surpass their competitors. To learn more, you can visit bsrdigital.com or you can email them at hello@bsrdigital.com. Okay, so today I have, as I told you, a great guest. His name is Vance Morris. He's a customer service speaker and marketing strategist at the Liver Service Now Institute, where he shares insider secrets on how the magic of customer and guest service is created. He's a 10-year Disney veteran, having spent 10 years working for the mouse at Walt Disney World in Orlando. Hey, Vance, thanks for being on the show.
Yeah, thanks, Brian. This will be fun. I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, me too. So I always love to ask my guests about their story. So I know you have an interesting one. So please go for it.
So it starts back when I was a wee lad no, I'm just kidding. We won't go that far back. Yeah, I went to school up in New England, and funny story on how back then Disney was actually doing its hiring. I graduated with a friend of mine who ended up being a recruiter for Disney. I was looking for a job. I called him up. I said, "Hey, Tom, you have anything going on?" He says, "Yeah, come on down. We'll make something work." That was the extent of my interview with the Disney company. Granted, that's back in the 90s. They don't do that anymore. But still, that was interesting. So I spent probably 30 years in the hospitality industry. So I've, known client experience and customer experience over the years. I've worked for mom and pop locations, small Main Street operations. I've worked for the big dogs, Rainforest Cafe and obviously Disney. And what I found, though, on this very, very strange journey is that I make a lousy employee, which is probably why I started my own business. I think it's just because I don't like to be told what to do. Just ask my wife. I mean, she knows that I don't like to be told what to do. So I like to say I was laid off, but I think it's more appropriate term is fired. So about 15 years ago, I started my own business here in the States, and that was incredible. Of course, we started in 2007, perfect year to start a business, right? And after about 3 or 4 years, I mean, the business just started to really explode through the style of marketing I was doing. I took all of my Disney hospitality energies and knowledge, and I put that into this business. And it wasn't long before people were saying, Vance, how you doing that? Because we're not doing that. We've been doing this for 10 years. I'm like, well, it's just what I know. So after telling a few people for free how I did it, I put together a program and started teaching people how to implement Disney stuff. I call it Disneyfy. And we, and pretty much 99% of everybody who's implemented what I've shown them have done well. There's one guy, there's always one, right? One guy that screwed up my batting average for me.
No, I mean, this is awesome. Thanks for sharing your story. And I was really excited or ready to, about this call because the other day I was recording another interview and we were talking about, of course, how the landscape, the e-commerce landscape changed due to COVID as many industries changed and it's gotten more competitive since then, right? Way more. A lot of opportunities for everyone, right? But a lot of demand, a lot of offer as well. So you need to differentiate yourself from the rest of the crowd. We discussed, for example, in the previous interview about collaborations with other brands, individuals. If you stand for something, the soul of the brand and all those stuff, and it's basically another way of saying, hey, if you're not different, why am I going to buy this shirt, t-shirt, or whatever from you and not from the other store across the street? So in this point is like something that we're going to talk about today is how you differentiate yourself, your company in the outside and the inside from the rest of the companies out there, right? And Disney is so different. I remember I've been twice to Disney, and once I've been with my family. And I remember there was this parade and Mickey Mouse was there. Obviously, why not, right? It's Disney. And my mom, not my daughter, my mom, she said, it's Mickey Mouse, it's Mickey. And it's like, Mom, are you okay? He's not like the real, no, it's Mickey. It's like, wow, I got thinking like it creates a magic that even adults feel like children again, right?
Right.
So what do you think that is so special about Disney that creates that magic, that environment for even adults to feel children again?
The reaction of your mom is priceless. But that proves a point that I try to make over and over again is that you need to create emotional connections, emotional attachments to your prospects and your clients. Mickey could do no wrong for your mother. She loves him. And sometimes I think as small businesses, we try to become Walmart, Amazon, we try to be big guys, which we're not. And we forget why people do business with us. And the number one reason that people continue to go back to Disney, poll people all the time, they do surveys. The number one reason people go back to Disney is the people, is the employees that wait on them. A secret between us girls, Mickey's not real. Don't tell your mother.
Don't listen, Mom.
There's an act, but it's those people. I had employees when I was a leader there that had already been with the company for 20 or 25 years. And and in some of the restaurants, we would have guests show up and say, I want to sit in Betty's section. Well, it's going to be 3 hours before Betty has a table available. Would you like to go sit with Bob? Nope, we're going to wait for Betty. So Betty has made, and these people come back year after year after year, and will only have certain people wait on them. So it's not a big giant. Disney is huge. They own ABC, ESPN, Marvel, but when people come to visit, they are looking for those one or two people that make every visit special. And so, Disney can make mistakes. And as long as they go see Betty and Bob, everything's good. So, you said, I think people, especially in the online world, business owners tend to not use their personality in their marketing or let their personality shine through their public persona on the web. Because, let's face it, a dentist is a dentist is a dentist, right? There's only so many ways you can clean teeth. What separates each dentist from the other? Well, it's the experience that one or the other provides. Um, so, and you can apply that to anything. You sell t-shirts online. Okay, great. Well, what is different about your company? Because I can buy a t-shirt in 10,000 different places.
Yeah.
Oh, but wait, ours are made by, little pygmies, with bare feet, and they, use the finest Peruvian cotton threads. And oh, by the way, here's my story. My child has a lot of allergies, and one of the allergies was to synthetic materials. So I couldn't find I couldn't find, clothes for my kid that didn't make him itch. So I came up with this special Peruvian cotton, and then my kid stopped itching. Now there's a story about a cotton shirt.
Yeah. No, for sure.
It's a cotton shirt,
No, 100%. I think people want to probably replicate, as you said, the big players, and they forget that sometimes it's way more interesting their stories rather than big player story. And they try to start in a garage, and start with and tell the same old story that probably is like, oh, it's not yours. We've heard that 1,000 times. So why don't you tell us something yours? And that's probably, people can resonate. I mean, they can find it way more interesting than you think of. So
I think, a lot of people, if you go to their About Us page, there's nothing about them on there. It's very whitewashed, generic. You might list your degrees or, who certified you, but that's
not the
you're not going to make a connection with a buyer by spouting that stuff off.
100%. So there's something special. Of course, around the Disney experience, but does this apply to any other business or only to Disney? Because we all love Disney, but we don't love every single business out there. So how can any business owner listening can actually Disneyfy their own business?
Sure. Well, I get the question a lot, Vance, I don't own a roller coaster. I don't own a castle. I don't own characters. Why would I want to compare myself to Disney? And there are a number of other, top-notch service companies, in the world, Ritz-Carlton, Zappos. There's a lot of companies that you compare to. Disney, for me, I just have a lot of knowledge about since I worked there for 10 years. But you have businesses, every business has more in common with that company than they realize. If you think about it, Disney has employees, you have employees. Disney, has guests, you have customers. Disney has, they have cost pressures, so do you. They have inventory, supply chain issues, sure, so do you. So, there's probably 25 things that, Disney has in common with every business out there. So, and it's not like we're trying to copy what Disney does. All right. So, I look at, it's not a 100% adopt this strategy. It's how you adapt Disney strategy to your business. And we may talk about the same strategy, but you're going to adapt it differently than I am, even though it's the same strategy. So, one of the things that Disney does so well is and this is actually, I created the term Disneyfy, which is they create experiences out of the mundane. So there are boring, mundane stuff, things, tasks that we have to do every day to keep the business running. How do you make an experience out of each one of those individual things? So, Disney makes an experience out of answering the telephone. They create an experience around an email. Have you ever got an email from Disney? There's pixie dust all over it. And, they've got special magical titles and everything. It's not just a regular email. It's a Disney email. So you can do this, both on and offline.
Okay. So, of course, I'm blown away by the whole thing because, again, we are all trying to differentiate our services and business. from the rest, right? And sometimes it's like, as these guys told you, is like, I don't have any roller coasters in my company. So where do I start? I mean, my clients, for example, let's say they have an e-commerce brand, and some people might say, hey, all they care about is the quality of the fabrics or the quality of the products they buy from us, about having, I don't know, the products shipped on time and all the stuff. So probably they don't care about the rest.
Mm.
Where are they, let's say, wrong, or what are they missing there that they could actually, improve and stop leaving money on the table and getting
Sure.
more people to
I
buy?
mean, I think I have an example from my own business that might help to illustrate
Yeah, sure.
this and how, well, I'll do the illustration in a second. The way I would go about this, if you want a tactic, and this, if you're taking notes or you're not taking notes, now's the time to start
You
taking
should,
notes.
yeah, of course.
Not you, but your listeners. Or you can take notes too if you want, Brian.
Yeah,
But is to map out every single point where a prospect or client interacts with your business. And you start all the way at the beginning. So is it an ad? Is it a postcard? Is it a phone call? Is it they walk into your office? And then you take each one of those points and you say, okay, we're going to make an experience out of this interaction. And you come up with ways to, constantly improve it. So I have a box that I deliver my book in. So if somebody goes to my website, orders my book, it goes out in a special box. Now, a few years ago, so this is where people get, their mind goes nuts. Like, oh my God, I can't do this. It's too much. I'm going to tell you how I did it from the beginning, because at the beginning, if you ordered my book, it went in a plain brown box and went out the door. That was it. Well, somebody bought the book, so I shipped it and it got there in time. That was it. I said to myself, well, that's not much of an experience. How can I plus it? Now that's Walt Disney's term. That's Walt's own term for process improvement, is plussing. So I said, well, you know what? I should probably have my own box. So I had a box designed. I was like, oh, well, that's pretty cool. So I realized, well, it's a book. Maybe I should have a bookmark to go along with it. So I had a bookmark and I inserted in the book when I sent it out. And then I'm like, well, it's kind of a workbook. Maybe I should include a pen, right? I add a pen to the box. Wait a minute. They've bought something from me and I'm sending it to them. I'm already paying the postage. I should thank them for buying the book. So now I put a thank you letter in there. And I'm like, well, that wouldn't make me a great marketer. I should put a sales letter in the box. So I went from sending, and this took 18 months to finally get it to where it is. But I went from cardboard box all the way to box with pen, bookmark, thank you letter, sales thing, so it all happens in iterations.
yeah. I mean, to those listening, he said 18 months, 1 year and a half, not 1 day and a half.
Right.
That's important, right? It's not
Yeah.
overnight. And it takes, I assume, I mean, what's your thinking process in a nutshell? I mean, it's like, I guess that in that long period of time, it's, you get feedback. You think, but
Yeah.
you don't think alone. You need to get feedback from customers or your team, or right?
Yep.
Back and
Yeah. I
forth.
mean, some of it's customer feedback. Some of it's, I'm part of a couple of different masterminds, which I strongly encourage people to be in masterminds. And I'll go, hey guys, look, I did a new box for the book. And the guys in the mastermind will say, yeah, that's nice, Van. What are you going to do next? Oh, well, next. And then, we'll brainstorm some ideas. So, it's good to have a group of people that you can, trade ideas with because they are outside of your business looking in, and they are probably going to be, more along the lines of your customer. I mean, your business inside and out, and you see it every day. Having people from outside the business looking in is very important, because some of your biggest breakthroughs can come from those kinds of people.
Yeah, something about, well, everything is interesting about what you said, but this last part, I want to probably dive a little bit deeper into that is, your business, right? As, let's say, the founder, the owner, CEO. But then when you're not a one-man shop, how does it work for the rest of your team to act like, what was the name of these? Betty, the name of the
Oh
waitress,
yeah, Betty.
Betty. So I want more of her. I want many Bettys in the team, because that's what makes a great experience. On the opposite
Mhm.
side, I don't want many Bobs, because it's like, maybe it's not Bob, it's that he's not Betty, but sometimes it's like, hey, Bob is not, probably I don't want to speak to Bob anymore. So how do we avoid those Bobs? And sorry to those Bob listening this, how do we avoid these people, and how do we get more from these people, and what's our role as the company, in this case, let's say the founder, it could be HR, but let's say the founder, what's our role in making them better and more Bettys, let's say?
Right. Well, I firmly believe, and we did this at Disney as well. Funny thing about Disney, a lot of the best ideas have come from the line level workers, the people that drive the boats, run the rides, and work in the restaurants. They have better ideas than management, than leaders, than the CEO, etc. So including your employees in some of the decision making is vital. And that's where you get engaged employees, is by including them. Now, I'll give you an example. So when we were creating Chef Mickey's, which is Disney's character dining destination, um, we were told we had our marching orders. We had to get 400, we had 400 seats in the restaurant, and we had 42 minutes to get 400 people through those seats and make it a great experience. Now, why 42 minutes? Because a table for two took 42 minutes to eat. And if they didn't see Mickey within those 42 minutes, then they sat there longer, which threw things off. So we had to come up with systems and processes and things to make sure we could get the mouse through the entire dining room, all 400 seats, in under 43 minutes. So we asked each of the departments in the restaurant, how can you help? And so we went to the bus boys, the guys that clean up the tables after the guests leave. We said, how could you contribute from your department on making this a better experience? And the guys were like, well, look, here's one easy thing. Right now, when we clean the table, we've got a salt and a pepper and a sugar boat and the thing that's holding some other stuff. We have like 5 things that we have to gather up, move off the table so we can clean them and then put them back. If we had them all in just one basket, that would speed things up. Okay. So just the idea from the bus boys, gave us, I don't know, 14 seconds. Okay, great. Well, you add that to the idea from the waiter and the idea from the housekeeper and the idea from the chef. Now we're talking minutes. And, we look to the entertainment department. How can we better position Mickey and the rest of the characters to get through? So, and the way that you do that and you continue to make it better is that you include those people, I don't know, every 3 months, every 6 months, but you need to have a schedule, and it's called a process improvement meeting. And Disney does these things all the time. So that's how, I probably had meetings with myself on how to improve the book delivery. But, when we were at Disney, we sat down with key people from each department. We said, okay, how do we make it? Here's what we're doing right now. How do we make it better? And you just brainstorm. You've got to give them the parameters, which is what we did. We knew 400 seats, 43 minutes. It's got to be a good time, great experience. So there's the parameters. You guys figure it out in there.
Yeah, I love it. I mean, there's nothing random about the customer experience there. I mean, in your example, right? So there shouldn't be anything random, or left to chance when you're designing your own processes. And you should have processes, right? If you own a business, for you as the owner and also your employees to actually meet deadlines and get things done and improve the customer experience, you should have processes and have
Mhm.
everything measured, tracked, and hold people accountable. And I guess that will require, probably it's not something to discuss right now, but a lot of things in the back end, to measure, to track, to improve. So, but it's great that you get the ideas not from the top, but from the bottom. Let's say from, I
Yep.
don't like bottom, top and bottom. Sorry,
Yeah.
but I prefer, like, yeah, as you said, from the workers line, and they are dealing with those situations every single day, not management. So
Right.
why could they come
Well,
up with those ideas and not them, right?
and the key thing too, though, is documentation. I mean, you said, systems and processes, and they do need to be documented. And then it becomes your SOP or your manual or whatever you want to call it. And here's the other mistake that a lot of bosses and leaders make is that they compare Bob, poor Bob. We're just picking on Bob today. They compare Bob's performance to Betty, and that's not fair to either one. You need to compare Bob and Betty to the standard, to the process, and measure them that way. And it's also becomes a great training tool. Now it's not, well, we do it this way because Betty does it this way. No, we do it this way because here's the standard. And Disney runs on 3 words. And all of my companies run just on 3 words. I mean, I got 85,000 people down there. 3 words run the entire company: what to do, or what, how, and the most important word is why. So you describe what to do, clear the table, how to do it. Okay, you move this, you move that, you wipe things down. And then the most important thing is, why do we do it that way? And we do it that way because it saves 14 seconds off the turn of the table. And when you add that up over the course of a day with the other departments, it's a few minutes. And the big why is the guests have a great experience. So if you can set your training, your processes up with just those 3 words on a piece of paper: what to do, answer the phone, how to do it, however you decide you want to answer the phone. And then why do we do it that way? To separate ourselves from all of the other competitors out there. We want to be memorable. We want people to, because your marketing is designed to do 2 things, attract the people you want to do business with and repel the people you don't want to do business with. So just through answering the phone a certain way is going to attract people that, oh, that's cool. I like this guy. I'll talk to him more. Or, I'm not going to, which is great. I mean, your marketing is supposed to sift, sort, and screen out, prospects that would not make good clients.
Yeah, no, that's an important one. I mean, answering the phone the right way. It's probably the first time they are in touch with your company and they hear from you, and that experience and impression from your company, it's super important. So yeah, that I agree totally. So I was remembering while we were discussing that the other day, I was asking a friend for a place, like for a barber shop, and he said, I remember, like, you should go to this one. And you know what he mentioned? He didn't mention because they do things excellent. I mean, you will get the hair done great, blah blah. He mentioned because you get beer while you're getting the haircut. They will give you beer,
I'd go
So
there.
yeah, so we sometimes we offer, let's say, a core service, right? We all offer a core service, right? I think,
Mhm.
at least, right? But sometimes it's not, probably it's what you said, like create a wow experience and not only probably the core service. Here's only probably the dilemma I have always had with let's say previous businesses I owned. It's like should the wow be greater than the core experience or the core service? Does it matter? It's like, okay, the beer is great, but the cost should be excellent as well, or should be at the same,
Mhm.
level. Or can we all, because sometimes we see people offering like wow experiences, but the core service is like, okay, it's not at the same level.
Mhm.
So what do you think about that?
Yeah, I mean, if you're, I mean, delivering a good product is like I mean, that's the bare entry into the market. I mean, if you're not delivering a good product, don't worry about wow, because you won't be out of business pretty soon. So if you give lopsided haircuts or all the stuff is damaged when you deliver it, you need to figure those things out before you worry about dressing it up a little bit. Certainly, and Disney is exactly the same way. I mean, if they didn't already deliver a incredible experience, doesn't matter what kind of dressings they put on top of it, it wouldn't overcome you know the poor service, the poor products, the awful food, any of that stuff. So yeah, you need to have your, I mean, nobody sets out to design a mediocre product, right?
Oh
You know,
no, probably
yeah.
that's I agree totally. What I meant is that sometimes the wow
Mhm.
surpasses the core services by far. It's like sometimes Betty getting their table is like oh, it's like they enjoy her company and talking to her and blah blah, and then probably the core service is probably the same as anywhere else.
Yeah.
It's average. I've heard many people saying, even
Yeah.
myself, hey, I come often to this restaurant. The food is, average, but then, the customer experience is just unforgivable.
Exactly. Yeah. No, in that case, yes, I 100% agree with you. I mean, the reason that people come back, like I said, to Disney is for the people that are delivering this experience. And sometimes you can't measure it, but a lot of times, yeah, I mean, like some of the wows I do in my other businesses, like I will take my top 5 clients every month, top 5 clients, and I send them a cake through the mail, a real cake. So like in here in Maryland, the state I live in the US, we have a state cake. It's called the Smith Island cake, very famous, at least here in Maryland. And there's a company that will ship this cake anywhere in the country for me. So I take my top 5 clients and they put in a little note in the box and they ship the cake out. Now, that experience blows them away. They're like, oh my, I mean, when was the last time somebody sent you a cake in the mail? Ever?
No,
You know,
that's
just
something.
and not like you ordered it. I mean, just like as a gift. Poof, here's a cake. Um, was my service that good that I wowed them with a cake? I think my cake was well above, the service that I provided. But, you got to think too with wows, excuse me, they are unexpected, so, if you did business with me, you're not saying, well, he should send me a cake. That's not the thought that's going through your mind. Your thought is, well, you better deliver the service that I just paid you for. The cake, now that's just, pardon the pun, but that's just icing on the top.
No, that's yeah, that's awesome. It's the fact of the surprise. That's awesome. So some of the questions probably to wrap up is I'm curious, how does Disney measure or grade happiness, the customer happiness? I mean, reviews are the easy ones, right? But do they do surveys? Do they do anything else? What do they do
Mhm.
about them? The bad ones,
Yep.
even.
Yeah, I mean, if you've ever been to a Disney park, there's like a small army of people out there. Well, they used to have clipboards, now they have iPads or something, and that's all they're doing. They're asking questions to guests, or they're just observing. They're watching and making notes. So they'll watch how quickly people can enter the park. They'll watch how quickly they can park their car. They'll watch how fast a line goes through a restaurant. And they make all these notes, and then they go back and they figure out, how do we make it better? How do we plus it? One of my jobs as a leader was to take all of the information from my area, all the feedback, and bring it to the team. Most of the time, it was great news, and with the good stuff. See, the thing is, when you write to a company the size of Disney and you write about a specific experience, there is a 99.9% chance that that cast member is going to hear about that experience. So Betty is going to get the message that that family wrote in and said, we had a great vacation and Betty was wonderful. Within a week, Betty's going to know, and you celebrate them publicly. Now, if Betty made a mistake, Betty's going to find out about that too, but privately. A manager is going to take them aside, do a little coaching, do a little counseling. I always I do comment cards, I do all sorts of stuff in my businesses. I tell people not to do it if they are not prepared to take action on the feedback that they get. Some people, they just say, that's just the customer. They don't know what they're talking about. No, they're the customer. They're giving you valuable information on how to make your product better, your service better. And they're telling you there's a problem somewhere, and I encourage, especially people in the digital or e-commerce world. When was the last time you went through one of your funnels, one of your purchases from start to finish from the eyes of a customer? Where are the hiccups? Where are the speed bumps? I call them the barriers to service or barriers to the sale. Where are people getting frustrated and abandoning the purchase? So those are, you have to go through, or, just get a couple of friends. Hey man, can you, here's a coupon code. Can you go buy one of my things? And then just, tell me what you thought. People will come back and, wow, I got to, the 14th upsell and I was really fed up and I just abandoned ship. Well, 14 upsells. Yeah, that's probably a lot. But you get my point.
Yeah, I can resonate with that last one thing because with the whole thing, but last one thing in particular, because whenever we onboard a client, we go through their whole funnel and we find out things that they say, oh, is that really happening there? Because I haven't checked in a while. So yeah, we all get those. But yeah, so basically in a nutshell, what you said is it's really important, guys, you listening. It's basically you ask for reviews, you observe what your clients are doing. If you have any covers, you can get any session recording tool, any heat map, click map, or whatever to actually know what they are doing without asking them, besides asking them, right? But that's like watching their behaviors and all stuff. You act on reviews positively. If it's a positive review about a team member, you celebrate that publicly, otherwise probably privately, trying to encourage them to get better. So yeah, that's awesome. Before we wrap up, is there anything I didn't ask you that you think that will benefit the audience?
Not so much didn't ask, but I hope I've provided some good information for you and for your listeners. It's only just information if you don't do anything with it. The only way you're going to make an impact on your business is to take just one thing that we talked about today and change something in your business or implement. And that's the key thing. And that has nothing to do with marketing or service or anything like that. It's just business 101. Take something we talked about today and implement it and see what happens. Because otherwise, it's just been a nice conversation.
Yeah, that's for sure. But what you said, it's totally important that you need to act on tips and the tactics that you listen to or read about. So that's awesome. You shared so much value. Too much value that, of course, now it's your time, guys, and my time as well to go and take action and change some, wow, some people and demystify some experiences. So this has been great. So where can people go to learn more about you and your company?
Sure. Best easiest way is to go to my website, which is deliverservicenow.com. You can actually order my book for free there and just pay shipping, and you'll get the box that we talked about.
That's
And
awesome.
then there's also a blueprint that you can download, which is completely free as well. And honestly, if you just do one thing out of that blueprint, your business is going to be completely different.
That's awesome. Vance, it was great to have you on the show. Thanks for being here.
Thank you, Brian. I appreciate it.